All right, good morning. Sorry, guys, I'm just a little bit behind the eight ball here. I was in a bit of a rush to get out here, and I'm just getting set up. So I want to make sure that everything's working right here. Give me 2 seconds. Do that is inbox. Well, I guess this thing is working. All right. uh, First of all, I want to welcome everybody. I just want to welcome everybody, and thanks for being here. And I just, again, I want to make sure that we're on the same wavelength here. So what I'm talking about is I'm talking about retirement funds. I'm talking about retirement income. I'm talking about real estate investors. I'm an old real estate investor, so I'm looking for different options to create reliable wealth that don't include rental properties. So anybody who's not really of that nature, I mean, you're welcome to stay, but I don't want to waste your time. So if you're not touching on the 50s and the 60s and getting ready for retirement and thinking maybe real estate might be an option, but you're looking for some other suggestions, if that's not you, you may as well go and find another. May as well go and find another live to hop on because this is not a place for you. So, anyways, I'm not hyping. I'm not pitching. I mean, you're welcome to stay, but I just want to make sure that you get the most value out of your time. So, I just want to talk a little bit about my history as a real estate investor, why I wanted to make some changes, and why digital marketing, why now, why the e-learning industry. So again, I want to make sure that you understand. I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking into the e-learning industry. I'm learning about the e-learning industry, those high income skills. Um, the reason I'm going there is because for me, real estate just wasn't cutting the mustard anymore. Like, I mean, every time I turned around, there was. We do have a couple of people viewing here. Hey, welcome, welcome. So, anyways, real estate just wasn't cutting the mustard for me anymore. I was just every time a surprise bills or something happening that put my piece of real estate out of commission for a while, and then I was ended up having to pay for vacant properties, and I just never knew where my cash flow was going every month, and after a while it just got to be a bit of a drain on me, and it was just it was just tiresome. So that's why I started looking into the digital world to get some ideas on what digital marketing was about. And there's some good opportunities out there. However, what I'm finding now and what my community is finding now is that the traditional stuff is just really not working so well. Uh, people are people are not engaging as much as they used to on digital on the online on the social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it happens to be. They're not engaging. So what we've been talking about lately and what I've been learning lately is creating your own community. Now, what do I mean by a community? The community is a place, and there's a couple of them, a couple of different platforms online, but a community is a place where you actually own the audience. And when I say you own the audience, what I mean by that is the audience is a lot more captive, and you don't have to worry so much about about being canceled, being banned, being shut down, being the algorithm changed or something like that, because that's your community. That's one of the reasons for it. Mm. Another one of the reasons for it is because it gives you a better a better way to engage with people. Like about some of my TikToks earlier, that we're not in um, we're not in a transactional world anymore. We're not in a transactional economy. We're more of a trust economy. And I'm sure, anybody who's watching here, there's a few of you out there. I'm sure that anybody who's watching here right now knows that, or they're feeling that, you don't want to be marketed to. You want to be engaged with. You want to have a safe place to talk about your story. You want to have a safe place to share ideas and get information that you can trust. And I get all that because, honestly, I'm in the same place. I mean, when my real estate business, and I was pretty active in the real estate community for a lot of years. And, again, as things moved along, hold on here a second. As 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 the real estate business moved along, as my real estate community moved along, they changed their format, and it just started to be someplace where you were just marketed to. So, you'd travel to these events, you'd spend a whole weekend at an event, and all that'd really be happening was somebody trying to pitch you on something, somebody trying to sell you something. So, it got stale after a while. I wanted a place where I could trust the information that I was getting, and I wasn't just getting it because somebody was trying to sell me on the latest greatest things. So oh, okay, I see what that is. So that's kind of a reason for a community, and it's just a place where you can share ideas and let people belong, and you can give information out in your community that you have no expectation of having to get something back to make it worth your while. You can just give out information and let people learn. And as people start to trust you, that's when the magic starts, so to speak. So as people learn to trust you, um, then they will connect with you. Then they will be more interested in the offers that you have to make, but because they know, obviously, that those offers are legitimate. They're not just, well, buy this, oh well, maybe that didn't work, buy that, whatever. So so that's why. Oh, this really did shut down on me, didn't it? So strange. So anyways, that's why I'm talking about communities right now, because honestly, most folks are doing. I like to believe that everybody's doing the best they can, and I mean, most folks are doing everything right when it comes to careers, whatever their investments are. Maybe they do have a couple of rental properties. I'm not bashing real estate. I still own a fair chunk of real estate. But what I was really running into again was I never knew where I was from one month to the next, and some of the I've talked about this earlier as well. Some of the bills that I've had to pay over the last little while. I mean, you know, they'll kill your cash flow for months on end, if not the whole year. So, why did you invest all this money for something that's not making you a dime? And after a while, you just get kind of stressed out, and you don't know where to turn. So that's why, I wanted to get something that was a lot more stable, not so conditional on something happening with a piece of investment property that quite honestly, usually spent a lot of money on. So hence the e-learning industry, and hence digital marketing. So, but the problem that we were running into was a lot of the advice that I was getting. And I mean, I wanted to build followers, I wanted to build consistency, I wanted to build all that stuff. And I was willing to learn, I was willing to put in the efforts, but so much of that advice was just based on get more followers, get more reach. Well, all that followers and all that reach doesn't do you any good if nobody's taking any action. If they're just watching excuse me, if they're just watching your stuff. So that's why I wanted to get away from that and start looking into a way that I could get more engaged with my people without having to worry about, you know, basically retraining the algorithm every time you did a new post. Because when you get onto and you name the social media platform, they're all out there, you all know them. But if you like, you don't own that platform. You don't own the audience and you don't own the rules. And they can change the rules. And I'm sure if you're anything like me, and you're in that world, um, your friends have been banned. Maybe you've been banned. Maybe you've gone live or something like that, and all of a sudden, because of Lord knows what, they shut down your live, and you don't own that, and there's nothing that you can do there. And you know, I mean, I do some parallels on rentals on real estate as well. Like some of those rentals look really good on the spreadsheets, but then again, a repair comes along, or maybe somebody moves out and I've got to do a big reno on it, or maybe somebody just stops paying rent and it takes me 2 months to get them out of there, and I have to pay all the bills for that. And when those conditions change, you know, now you're stuck. Now you're stuck having to deal with something that you have no control over. And so, you know, a lot of the real estate and a lot of the social media stuff, they feel very risky, especially as you get closer to retirement, because you don't have 10 years to rebuild something anymore. And nor would you want to if you did. So, so this is why, you know, I want to talk about moving on to communities. And what I'm learning with communities is, you know, you can base those you can aim those communities at your target market, whatever that happens to be. For my target market, I'm looking at people like me, kind of burned out property owners, that are sick and tired of you know, real estate and the unfamiliar, what am I what's the word I'm looking for, the real estate and the unreliable income that real estate was joining, or was given to me. But as I got into, you know, again, here's a little story for me. As I got into more and more focusing on, um, real estate investors, rental property owners, just folks getting close to, retirement age and looking for that reliable retirement income, it just seemed like my audience, or my views, my videos were getting pushed out to younger and younger audiences that were not my target market. They were not in the same world as I am. And you know, there's very few ways. I've tried, believe me, I've tried them all, but there's very few ways that you can reset that. And the platform is the one who decides who sees that message. And that, you know, again, that lack of control that I had over who was seeing my message, who was I engaging with. I mean, that's not a retirement strategy. That's risk and hope. And I wanted something more solid than that. So, you know, again, when I talk about the followers there, they're rented, and that they can be taken away from you. They can vacate. They can not engage with your message. When you start actually building a community where everybody knows what's going on and you're providing valuable information, you don't have to be resetting, algorithms every post that you do. Those communities are, I don't like the word owned, but those communities are loyal to you. And your job is not to be, you know, posting consistently 3 a day, blah blah blah, whatever it happens to be. You're building relationships, and at the end of the day, we're all human. Like, that's what we want, is good relationships, right? And that's where that trust gets built. That's where that trust compounds, and that's where that income really starts to get to be based on the amount of help that you're giving to other people, the amount of success you're able to build in somebody else's life. Because, you know, we all know that old adage, the more you help other people get what they want, the more you get of what you want. Can't remember who said that, but it, you know, it's very apt and it's very true. And that's why community is different than just a bunch of stuff online, because those people, the ones that are in your community, they feel seen and they feel supported, and they're able to ask questions, and those questions aren't just masked over with a sales pitch. Those questions are actually answered honestly, and you get to replace that the pressure of the online world. You get to replace that pressure with actual real support, and that's what creates all that predictability and all that stability. And I was going to say something else there. I forgot what it was. Couldn't have been too important. So that's why I really like the idea of a community as opposed to just posting 3 times a day on social media and trying to be everywhere on every different platform. You can still use the social media, but use it as a feeder. You don't use it as your foundation. Use your community as the home base where everybody can come and feel supported and feel heard. Because I mean, I'm going to go back to I've seen a lot of people. I've heard of a lot of stories, especially if you're from down in the United States. There's a lot of talk about shutting down TikTok. Well, a lot of folks were losing their minds because business their entire business was based on maybe TikTok Shop. Their entire business was maybe based on reaching their folks on TikTok, and they maybe had audiences of 10, 15, 20,000, 100,000 people, and they were justifiably worried that they were going to lose those audiences. That doesn't happen when you've got your own community. You control that community, and as long as it's not, you know, something weird, um, you can build that community. Heck, we were looking at one the other day, and what were they were talking about indoor plants, and they had thousands of followers all just talking about indoor plants. And when you get those thousands of followers, that's a place where you can offer solutions to whatever they're doing, and listen to their issues. And what I was going to mention before is, as you listen to their issues, as you find out what their struggles are, you can create content on that. But you know that it's a legitimate struggle. It's not just somebody complaining. It's a legitimate struggle because they're bringing it into your community. And all of a sudden, you get 2 or 3 other folks that are saying, "Yeah, I'm having that same issue." And now all of a sudden, you can engage with that. You can create content based on that, based on the information that you're getting, and what people are finding out, or what you're finding out from your audiences. So anyways, that's kind of what I've got for you today. Um, I'm glad you guys came. I just wanted to get out there and have a little chat. Is there something, if you guys want, toss it in the comments. If there's something that you have a question about, where is it exactly that social media is stressing you out if you're trying to build that online business? What's not working with your online income these days? And what would reality look like if you could have your dream? What would that look like for you, and how would you be able to create that income? So anyways, if you got any questions, just drop them in the comments. More than happy to help out here a little bit. And yeah, that's about all I've got for you today. So anything in the comments, and other than that, I'm going to sign off, and I've got a little bit of work to do here. My 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 why for wanting to have a really sustainable online business, of course, as you can see, I love my flying, I love my aviation. Well, of course, my one airplane's down now for repairs, and I just got the bills today. Those repairs are going to be outrageously expensive. So that's not your problem, that's mine. But this is why I do what I do, is to create that income stream, so that I'm able to, you know, keep my airplanes flying, keep that dream of mine alive, without having to worry about, you know, what am I going to lose out on in the meantime. So anyways, that's my world for you today. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for having a check. Thanks for listening, and we will chat with y'all soon.